I am Usha Pathak. Elders, please accept my respect and love to youngers. Today, I want to say something about gerund and verbal noun. A gerund is that part of a verb which, if the verb is intransitive, has the function of a noun only. But if the verb is transitive, retains the function of a verb also and can be followed by an object in the same way as if it were a finite verb. Fond of sleeping, noun function only. Fond of hunting foxes, noun and verb function combined. In point of function, there is no difference between a gerund and an infinitive. Either may be correctly defined as that part of a verb which names the action without naming the doer. Both are abstract nouns. The difference between them is not in function but in form. Observe the suffix ing. They differ also in syntactical uses. For a gerund has case and can be preceded or followed by any kind of preposition, and it can be preceded by the definition article the. The same cannot be said of infinitives. Consequently, the other forms of gerund, sometimes called compound, being loved, having been loved, were formed in modern English on the analogy of corresponding participle. A gerund has four forms: 2 for the active voice and 2 for the passive. Active, loving, present or continuous, having loved, perfect. Passive, being loved, present or continuous, having been loved, perfect. The forms of a gerund then are the same as those of a participle, and both are parts of a verb. The difference lies in the fact that a gerund is a kind of noun, but a participle is a kind of adjective. So, in spite of the resemblance in form, they are quite distinct in nature. The region of the resemblance in form is a matter of history. In Old English, the forms of the verbal adjective and verbal noun were quite distinct. The suffix ing originally belonged to the later only, participle and verbal noun. Now, gerund as noun. Since a gerund is a kind of noun, it may be the subject to some verb, or object to some verb, or complement to some verb, or object to some preposition. As subject to a verb, sleeping is necessary to life. Object to a verb, he enjoyed sleeping in the open air. Complement to a verb, his almost constant habit was sleeping. Object to a preposition, he was fond of sleeping. In such phrases as a hunting whip, a drinking fountain, the words hunting and drinking are gerund, not participle. A whip for hunting, a fountain for drinking. The gerund or verbal noun is here used as a substitute for an adjective. Gerund as a verb. Since the gerund of a transitive verb retains its verb character. The object by which it is followed may be of any of the five kinds. Direct. He is clever at teaching Euclid. Indirect. He is clever at teaching his sons Euclid. Retained. He is pleased at being taught Euclid. Cognate. He is proud of having fought a good fight. Reflexive. He is in the habit of oversleeping himself. Now gerund with possessive. A noun when it is placed before a gerund should be in the possessive case, provided it can be used in that case. He was displeased at the barber's not coming. Avoid such constructions as the following. He was displeased at the barber not coming. Would you mind me asking you a question? Asking neither object to the verb mind nor me is a possessive. Secondly, there should be only one direct object. Sometimes the letter A, an abbreviation of on, is placed before a gerund in a prepositional sense. This set him thinking. Now, gerundive use of participle. Such participles are not gerunds, but participles used in a gerundive sense. I depend on the wall being built immediately. How are we to praise being built in such a connection? We must parse it as a participle, but it is not used as such in the ordinary way, for it does more than qualify the noun wall. The sentence does not mean I depend on the wall that was being built or the wall when it was being built, but I depend on the wall being built immediately. That is, on the immediate building of the wall. There is therefore a gerund or verbal noun implied in the participle being built, and hence it may be said that such participles are used gerundively. A verbal noun is the same thing at bottom as a gerund, but a distinction lies drawn between them. A verbal noun is preceded by a definite article and followed by the preposition of, whereas a gerund has no article preceding it and no preposition following it. The former construction is the original one. The latter is modern and arose simply out of the omission of the preposition of. Like A, I am engaged in the careful reading of a book, verbal noun. Like B, I am engaged in carefully reading a book, gerund. In sentence A, reading is a single part of a speech, a noun and nothing more. In sentence B, reading is a double part of a speech, a noun and verb combined. Observe 2 that a verbal noun is qualified by an adjective, a gerund by an adverb. Sometimes the of is left out, even when there is a definite article going before. The giving to the courts the power to review hard and unconscious bargains will control the rest. The abstract noun, which we call a verbal noun or gerund, can be used in a concrete sense. I am pleased with my surroundings. He went away with all his belongings. Please subscribe my channel, like and share with your friends.